It's so good to catch up. This is the Peanut Gallery. I am one of your hosts, Jen, and I'm also joined by amazing co-host, Mr.
John.
John. Yes. Um, and at some point, we'll get some music as we get up and going. John is my mentor and old colleague and friend, and we take this time to catch up on everything that has happened since like 2000. So that's how we
just
start.
just a brief amount of
just
time.
a just a brief moment in time. I just feel like we're cyclically in like this repeat mode as well. It's we seem to be doing the same things over and over and over again. Um,
Yeah, there's definitely a deja vu thing going on recently that I'm not entirely a big fan of.
I I was giggling because music is top of mind for me right now. I have essentially given up TV and most of my social media. By that I mean I've cut down about 70%, which was already at some point. How often do you just zone out and listen to music?
Oh, pretty regularly. Yeah, I would say. Well, I mean, definitely when I'm just working out, right, or
Yeah,
I'm going on a walk or something like that.
yeah,
It's funny because they people say, hey, you should have moments of silence and you should go for a nice quiet walk and not listen to the radio or a podcast or music, what have you. And I can do that maybe one out of every 50 times I do it.
yeah.
it's just
I
not it's not a habit I've ever really cultivated. I probably should.
I wonder if it's my stimming. I think that
Mm,
we now have like that language to be like there's these things that we use to stim. Um, but I find myself listening to music and
hmm.
then going and listening to or reading the lyrics now and
Oh
trying to
yeah.
interpret them
Oh
a little
yeah.
bit differently.
Well, I mean that's the whole culture of liner notes, right?
Yeah.
Um, that kind of died its last death with the CD booklet. I think is actually probably coming back now, given how much people are getting back into vinyl and buying vinyl, right? Um, but we are of an age where we'd pull out the record jacket and we'd look at the lyrics and we'd look and see what else was going on, and we would know some of the people that were actually performing in these bands. And I that's just not the way things are wired these days.
I if I told you how many lyrics I got wrong, like just
Yeah.
straight, and I would have died on a hill to been like, I mean, I think at some point I was fibbing like, no, 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 no. I looked it up. You had to go to like Sam Goody, and then they had the book, and I was
Right.
just like, did you ever make like a custom CD at Sam Goody?
A custom CD. I didn't even know we could do that at Sam Goody. That's
Oh,
hilarious.
yeah. So you used to be able to make a mixtape. You used to be able to
I
go to
mean,
Sam Goody.
mixtape and burning my own CDs definitely did that. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be able to go and like pick a few songs and burn it. Nobody did it for me. I was always the I was
You're
on
as
the
the
outside
creator.
looking in, like, oh, I wish I had that. And I bring this up because it has been 40 years since Tears for Fears. It
Yep.
was the big chair.
Yep. Songs in the big chair.
I am giggling, but not giggling at the fact that we continue to have like these prolific songs about peace and like the rich people are taking over. We need to have some kind of a unity amongst us. 10 years later was Bulls on Parade.
Right. Right.
Technically, also Fiona Apple's, I love Fiona Apple. And then I guess it's been 20 years since Waiting on a World Change from John Mayer.
Yeah, it feels about right.
I still remember like Room for Squares as we were at the BBC.
Oh yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like, do you have any songs that like it inspired you for action or inspired you for like social like justice, or was there any awakening?
Oh well. I mean, good lord. It's. I mean, I grew up on 70s FM rock and my parents record collection from the 60s. So there was lot of Beatles, a lot of Stones, Seeger, Joan Baez, a lot of stuff that you would hear that clearly had a social element to it. But I mean, I think for us, things start to hit big in the 80s and 90s where you've got Public Enemy, you've got NWA,
That's right.
right?
That's right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that's really where, I mean, at least in my recollection, that's really where you saw a lot of the what I consider societal musical protest start to come to the fore. It wasn't going to be Michael Jackson or Madonna or Journey or uh, you know, Mister. They weren't going to be cutting the protest anthems. Um, so yeah, when you got those groups coming up, and then you get Rage Against the Machine, right? And you get all of these bands that are coming out of the 80s into the 90s. Their positions are becoming very anti-corporate, are becoming very sort of anti-status quo.
Yeah.
And there's suddenly a lot more ways to see and hear these people. There's Napster, there's all of the pirate sites. Um, and and MTV was still a big force then, right? Like MTV
Right.
still used to play music and music videos, and so you'd see a lot of that. And remember, we're on the cusp in the 90s of YouTube, coming into play, and it's suddenly bursting really big with things like SNL putting out Lazy Sunday, right? Because YouTube was kind of known. I mean, we knew about YouTube because we were in the Valley.
Yeah.
Not a lot of other people knew about YouTube until things went viral, like Lazy Sunday, and suddenly there was a whole new platform
Yeah.
that you were seeing a lot of these things pop up. And I mean, the 90s, I mean, the 90s, you've got, late 80s, early 90s, we've got grunge. That inspires an entirely different, series of subgenres and permissions for bands like Rage Against the Machine and others to really just kind of up it up, several other notches. Um, but I'm thinking, God, the only thing in the 80s that I heard that was even near a protest that wasn't, rap or hip hop would either be Midnight Oil, their first big album here,
Okay.
that had Beds Are Burning and a couple of other on there. And I mean, maybe U2. I mean, U2 had, political songs, but I wouldn't actually call them protest songs.
Yeah. I think they were more geographically related
Yeah.
to Ireland, which is. I was also thinking of Genesis.
Oh, Land of
Remember?
Confusion
Yeah, the
with
puppets
the
and
spitting image puppets. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, with like Reagan and Gorbachev and I I just like think of I thought we were headed for change. I genuinely did.
Well,
I thought, we were waiting on a world to change.
I think you were hoping for positive change.
Yeah, I was. I I think that's from maybe where a lot of the boomers are struggling is like you live in this bubble and you see the world the way you kind of
Hmm.
see it and you think you're making progress. And then something like YouTube hits.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then next thing you know, we all have devices, right?
Yep.
So now we have a camera everywhere, and now we have a platform in which we can upload, and it is now everywhere.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and that also means that those who were controlling the narrative can't control the narrative anymore. Um, are you also into yacht rock?
It's funny. It's funny you went there because I was thinking you're talking about the boomers, and I was thinking about the whole, the sort of the lore of the boomers kind of coming up, in the 60s and the countercultural revolutions and the hippies and the Levins, all this other stuff. And then the irony being in the 80s that, what were yuppies were really just basically, kids that were born in the 50s and 60s that had grown up and got a job and had a mortgage. And suddenly, we're too concerned about what happened in the 60s anymore. Um, but
No.
yeah, but that, and then you get yacht rock. This is what happens when you give up your ideals, kids. No, it's funny. The yacht rock thing, God, what was it that triggered that? I mean, obviously, I mean, as a sort of genre label now, it's what, 2 3 years old. But I think the thing that popped it out for me was that there was a meme going around, and it was the Michael McDonald song,
I think
and the
okay.
yeah, well, it was that one. But it's the one that was also sampled by, oh God, I'm completely
Warren G.
blanking. There you go, Warren G. Thank you. I knew there was a G in there
I was like, no, it's
somewhere,
Warren G.
and I'm like, Ronald G, Roman G. No, yeah. And there's a meme that was floating around, and it's popped up a couple different times now. Of you're of a certain age when you hear those opening chords, like doon doon doon, and you think, all right, is that going to be Michael McDonald or is it going to be Warren G?
Oh yeah.
And that I think got me into like, because you go down the algorithmic rat hole, and I think that I found the yacht rot um, documentary that was on Netflix or something like
Oh,
that,
that's
which was
right.
really good, like stupidly good. Like you go and you tell your friends, oh, you should really watch this, and they're like, is something wrong?
Well, it's interesting because John Mayer's mentor was Michael McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
And I love me some John Mayer. I do. I can
Oh yeah,
put
you
on
always
his
have.
early stuff and like just zone out. I'm not a deadhead, so I
Yeah,
also
you're
am
not
not
going
into
to the Dead and
fish.
Company. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, I'm more, Florence and the Machine. We know how to jump, and then
Right.
we know how to sing with her. But I was listening to so the last I was doing a Michael McDonald playlist, and he is actually very political.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he had the Sweet Freedom, Yamo Be There, and I'm like, I just think I don't really. I mean, like, you know what? Put yourself out there. Put yourself out there.
Well, but it gets back to your point about lyrics, right? Like nobody was really paying attention to the lyrics of Michael McDonald other than maybe the chorus.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he had some songs as a as both a singer and a songwriter that there were definite lyrics there that had some points to them. Like there was there were moments where you're like, wait a minute, really? Did he just say that? Oh, okay, I guess so.
Yeah, he and Kenny Loggins as well. Um,
Oh yeah. Well, and for me, I mean, Loggins always felt a little bit more grounded, maybe making a political statement here and there when you
yeah,
listen to some of his early stuff.
yeah,
Um, Either when it was just him or Loggins and Messina, but yeah, it's now I'm gonna have to go back to the library. I'm really curious now to kind of chart some of the influences, because I can't for the life of me in the 80s outside of rap and hip hop I can't think of, and punk.
yeah,
But punk was always sort of always sort of contrary. But I mean, Henry Rollins has been Henry Rollins his entire life, and
right.
we kind of grew up with him. But yeah, they're not they're not popping out like they should. I
Yeah.
have to go back and look.
I wonder if like I mean, like we had Sinead O'Connor. I mean, we had different kind of people who like to poke the bear,
Yeah.
but I wonder if we don't know of too many because they were silenced and we didn't have TikTok and YouTube to find those alternative
Well,
artists.
yeah, I think that's it. I mean, right, there were less outlets, there were less channels to kind of to hear that, unless you were in some of the subcultures. And I think about like when Dave Grohl talks about growing up in suburban Northern Virginia and going to punk shows and post punk shows and new wave shows and seeing people like the Germs, the Bad Brains, a couple of others, um, all which even today are considered pretty hard stuff, but they were passing cassettes around, right? It was all bootleg. It was kind of in that great tradition of, hey, here's a band I like, or here's 2 or 3 songs I like from this band, or here's really crappy recording we made at a basement show 3 days ago. Um, but that's how that stuff got circulated around. And even when you hear the stories in the early '90s of some of the grunge bands are sending their tape down to a singer that they've heard about in San Diego, and he listens it, likes it, and comes on up and I think he grows up to be Eddie Vedder. So, things like that. I'm probably conflating like 3 or 4 different grunge histories in that story.
I love it.
But yeah, I mean, but today, right, completely different, right? You between Instagram and TikTok and every other sort of focused media channel. There's so much kind of curated and user generated content that it's an embarrassment of riches. There are a lot of talented people out there that are putting their stuff out that you can see, but because of the algorithm, you might not see it. And honestly, it's it's been kind of funny, and I think this is definitely the algorithm at work. When I go out on Instagram and I follow some bands, both super well known and not super well known, but also follow a radio station and a DJ that's local that plays
a lot
of disparate, and diverse music. That's when I start getting fed like a Scottish trance band or this like Asian post punk trio that I never would have come across left to my own devices. And it's like, all right, this is great. I'm now I'm now spending a lot more time on Bandcamp than I ever have. So
actually, that brings me up to what is it? The Academy. What do your Grammys? The Grammys.
Yeah.
They've now introduced like these watered down categories.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
I mean, like first it was like contemporary country and now traditional country.
Right.
Like, oh, who's really? I promise you got plenty. And if you're so upset that it's taken off and it doesn't look a certain way, shame.
Well,
you shouldn't have. Yeah.
I think too. There's been, there was some subtlety to it over time. Kind of to your point, right? Like modern country versus traditional country. You could make maybe a definitional line of, what's selling out stadiums now is not what was playing at the Grand Ole Opry 50 years ago, right? I can see arguments like that. But when you come on out with whatever it was, the category to basically give BTS a shot, and I can't even remember what they called it. It was like Asian pop,
international
album or something like that.
I wonder, like, is it to my spidey sense says it's to keep the big winners American.
Well, that's just it, right?
Yeah.
If you've got, because when I saw it, I'm just like, okay, this is ridiculous. If you're a critical music academy, critical music academy, yes, and you're going to be giving out awards on a daily basis, on a yearly basis, then there needs to be very specific criteria for your stuff, and that's it. And if BTS, being the worldwide superstars that they are, can't fit into your criteria are probably wrong, right? Or to your point, they've been structured to defend kind of a status quo.
Half of our American music is dubbed, which is great. I mean, like they all, and I'm not saying that other people don't. I have definitely found it interesting. Like all the BTS, like all the K-pop, all of the young children in my family.
The young children.
We're talking like
the youngsters.
The 11-year-olds and down. Yeah. Like even the lady who helped me organize the house, like she brought her granddaughter over and she's like, "Oh, I need some K-pop." And I'm like, "Yo no say. I don't know which playlist that is. I don't know.
That's what the streaming services are for.
Because Google is there too. But I was just like, it's not my jam. Mm-hmm. I like jam with seeds in it. Some people like jelly, and it's I don't know. Like I think I've been I do love, like there's so many songs that come up on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I will save them. And then I go listen to the song and I'm like, oh, I see why they only did it for like 15 seconds.
Right.
Yeah. That was a good loop. Not a full song. Yeah. Do not need it.
Well, we talked about this a couple months ago about the whole at least I think it was with you, about the whole
Yeah.
clipping
No.
clipping model. Oh, where basically, see if I remember this correctly. It was probably with the other group I talked to on a weekly basis, um, where there's a whole sort of subgenre of people that are basically just editing things down to just razor thin, but like the best part of a song or the best part of a movie clip or the
Mm-hmm.
best part of what have you, a sporting event. And that sort of curation and editing is now becoming super popular from a user generated standpoint, that some of the corporate interests are starting to figure out, kind of like, when they were like, oh, we need a social marketing manager, right? We need a social media manager, like 10 years ago,
Yeah.
because I've seen this trend that's generating huge views and ad revenues, and they're like, okay, we got to get on top of this. But it's all, once again, started at the street, where there are people that just have a really good eye for either how to really razor and or sorry laser and on a on the best part of a piece of content, or they've learned how to use the software and can kind of figure it out, and but it plays right to your point. It's like, if BTS had a really, really mediocre song, there's probably one 15-second bit of it that is just amazing for some reason, and that's what will get sliced up and put out there.
Those young men, and I think they're in military age as well. So they're
I
young
think
men
they've
to me
all
is under 32. Apparently,
I
I'm
think
like
they've all
32 and
come
under.
I think
Yeah.
they've all come back from their military service.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um,
Yeah.
they're just they're so damn adorable.
Well,
But
it's
they're not sex symbols to me. But I'm like, oh, yep,
right.
I get it. I
Well,
get it.
there are people in the Grammys, right, or Grammys right now, that are probably having that same conversation. Which, wow, these guys are really popular. I don't understand why, or they don't do anything for me. But we
Hmm.
need to find some way to, capitalize on that popularity.
I love
But
the
yeah,
androgynous look, though. It's this very it's they're all men. They're absolutely all
right.
men, but they have like this. They do have a feminine aura about in my like they
Yeah, yeah.
because they flirt with their eyes and they do these really cool things, and it's not to make them feminine, but there is a
No, but
prettiness. I guess it's a prettiness that I'm like they're pretty.
they're so pretty.
They're so pretty.
Well, it's funny too, because I remember I had friends that were very, very much into Japanese pop for a long time,
Okay.
and then I had friends that were really into K-pop, and even like Korean television and movies and stuff like that. Way before it broke big in the U.S. And so I've kind of watched this wave for like the last 10, 20 years kind of start to build, because there are two or three people that are just absolute, fanatics that are like, oh, you got to watch this, or oh, you got to watch. And I think it's funny too, because to your point, there's a whole different set of expectations and body language around how they perform. um, and I remember the first time I saw like a BTS concert clip or something like that, and I kind of had a moment where I'm like, I'm sure this is what my parents felt like when they saw David Bowie for the first time.
Yes. Great. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Right.
That's
I
great.
mean,
Yeah.
because Bowie, at least for our generation, he's the pioneer of that, right?
Yeah.
Like that sort of that beautiful androgyny up on stage singing songs. He's your guy. Like
Yeah.
he's
You know what? You're
he's
right.
the model.
Yes, starting with David Bowie, and then we also had. I mean, think of every UK pop band.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Duran Duran,
Oh yeah.
Depeche Mode. That's I think
And you
those
can,
were.
yeah, I mean, you can draw a straight line from the shit the Bowie was doing in the early 70s directly to them, right? And
Yeah.
then, and then they start doing that. And then, Bowie just flips it all around all over again in the 80s. He's kind of like, okay, my children are growing up. I need to go do something different. And he, changes himself yet again. And yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see. I should go back and talk to my friends who know more about this than I do. It'll be interesting to see like the evolution of bands like BTS, but also just the footprint that things like K-pop have across the entire world, right? It's
They were able to, I think, an election or so ago, they were able to screw up uh, some, what do they call them now? God, why am I'm like, what is that called? When the president goes to them all the time, a rally. I'm
oh,
still trying to
rally.
figure out what's the game. What's the game? There's these rallies for which game? I was looking at though. I think of BTS. I think of Judy Garland and Shirley Temple being very, very controlled by Hollywood.
Mm,
You know,
yeah,
and to me, that's what a lot of K-pop has, is this incredibly curated,
yeah,
and you can't date anybody. You know,
yeah.
you have to be within this. Like, what are the guys? Like, something happened because he had an affair, and I was like, oh, that's a Tuesday in
Yeah,
Hollywood. Matter of fact, it's not
probably
even a
Tuesday
Tuesday.
morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like all 4:35 a.m. Blip.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that whole contract system, whether it was, in movies or music or TV, that was the classic for a long time, and there definitely were, um, those kind of image makers, and there still are. Obviously, I think it's a lot rarer now, at least in the U.S. Like the only thing I could think of is if you were a child star on either Disney or Nickelodeon, right? Because they, I mean, you hear the horror stories of like just how boxed in they were for such a long time, and then you're not surprised when they get out from underneath that system and are just like, I'm going to go do something so radically either normal or off the rails that people are just could be like, why are you doing this now? It's like, because I couldn't do it for the last 10 years. Doesn't surprise me.
I reminds me like the guy from Now We Know Too Much, right? Now there's this thing called OnlyFans, and you
Never heard of
know,
it. Don't know what
I
you're
mean,
talking about.
and I am now in a state that has blocked,
Give yourself
uh,
a thumbs up.
yeah, the conjugal videoing, the porn, the schmorn is blocked in this state.
Conjugal video. That's great. That's fantastic phrase.
But I have to go look it up. But I think not Ralphie, Flip from A Christmas Story got into porn. I like,
that's just an
that goes back
image
to
I don't
like
need.
sometimes the child star just kind of runs out of money,
Yeah,
and that's tragic because today Hayden Panettiere was found with an
I saw
overdose.
that. Yeah, I heard that on the car ride when I was coming back this morning. It was like 36.
Yeah, and she had been struggling for so many years, and it had started with postpartum.
Mm,
And you think of there's this stigma around postpartum and
yeah,
being able to be honest about it, because
right.
then depending on who you're going through, that leads me to another hot topic. Are you following the Lindsay Clancy trial?
It's. I knew you were going to ask me this question, and I like jotted it down a couple days ago, and I have not even looked at it. I've been following this other thing in the UK.
Oh,
I only know about it from the briefest of snippets that I saw something on like the BBC earlier today that was just
yeah,
like a very large GoFundMe has been created for her family or something
yeah.
like that. Um, and I think one other person, somebody who I follow on Instagram, had made some comment along the lines of, "Don't it'd be wrong to make her the face of like postpartum existence, right? So
Mhm.
basically, don't set her as an example, right? You can
Mhm.
talk about it, but don't just don't just make this the only thing that you're going to think about when you think about those words. So yeah, so
Well,
that's about all
yeah.
I know.
So here's, as a woman who suffered from postpartum, but you having to leave your husband, 24 hours after giving birth is a little tragic.
Yeah.
Um, just for me. I am looking at her story and I'm listening to some of, I'm not listening. TikTok lets me listen, and then I get to go through it.
Hey,
Uh,
admitting you have a problem is the first step.
I don't have the patience beyond your time limit on TikTok. Thank you very much. I mean, Tubi was 5 years ahead of its time. It would have been fantastic. Uh, the failure of the medical system,
Oh
the
yeah.
failure. And I say that because I had a failure last year of like, hey, I think I need to get some mental help. And like, no, 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 I think you're here. And I'm like, no, I've been asking you for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd finally got to where I was like, I told you, like, I feel a little different. And it sounds like she absolutely journaled everything. She was trying to get help. She was
Right.
calling suicide lines. To know that she was denied,
Right.
denied, denied, denied. I It has been interesting. No, the side of TikTok that I am on is like the husband did something, and
Oh.
so did his new wife. The
Oh.
the wife he went on a hike with 20 days later
Yeah, that's
in
not a good
Europe.
look. It's not a good
No.
look.
And
Um,
like now they're like her Apple Watch was working up until a minute before he sent the email. I know too much about I
so
sorry.
what, so
I
what you're
know
telling me is
so
this is going to
little.
pop up on Dateline really quickly.
I hope so. I hope, I mean, I don't want to, it sounded like he was a douche of a husband. Like I don't
Right.
I
He
mean,
wasn't a Scott Peterson.
no, I mean, I can't believe that Scott Peterson is still getting like a second trial.
Yeah. No.
I, I, I'm ashamed to admit it. I was like, "Are you sure he did it?" And then when her body showed up in the bay, it was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh yeah, absolutely did it."
Yeah.
And then you have a little bit of shame of like, "How did I buy into that?"
Well, to some of the points that you were making earlier, we've created an entire media ecosystem that A wants you to take a side, and B wants you to be engaged to a level of like parasocialness that is probably unhealthy and dysfunctional, right? So, and I think things like the OJ trial are, those are protean moments where a lot of what people do or fixate around when it comes to crime these days, or any sort of horrible tragedy, go back to some of those moments in the mid 90s where they completely reinvented the notion of a media circus, and which is probably why I try to avoid watching TV on the news these
Yeah,
days.
yeah.
So
Define news. Define news, and I'm trying to figure out which show is news. And by the way, I don't have cable anymore, so it doesn't
oh
matter.
yeah, yeah.
I'm just like, although my streaming, I've cut down about 4 streaming services now.
Hmm.
Um, Nothing like going through your subscriptions and figure out what was I paying for. I think I legitimately had 2 different logins for the New York Times Wordle.
Oh yeah.
I was like, they've got enough of my
I
money.
mean, the fact that there are services now that will go out and just basically hunt down all your subscriptions so you can clean them up tells you how bad of a problem we have. Like, if somebody has found a way to monetize it and it's something that is going to continue on because the nature of human existence, that's that somebody made a market and somebody is capitalizing on it. So
Yeah. Speaking of, also the other court case is Louis Mancioni,
yeah.
and I'm like, oh, thank God, the kid finally like. I'm just like I don't need to know who's jonesing over him.
Yeah.
I too am like screw the system, but don't murder people.
Yeah.
That's a horrible thing to do.
Yeah, well, and I think from what I last saw, um, the reason that he's going in for a federal guilty plea is it will, hopefully wipe away the state's cases, which is fine. I think it's a little bit of, good money after bad from the perspective of, regardless of what happens, you're going to be tied up in the legal system, even if you were proven innocent for
Yeah.
years and years and years. This just kind of starts streamlining the process of him actually going to trial. Now, what I'm really interested to know, because it feels like it's very simple to say, hey, if you just plead this now in federal court, you'll make your life easier with all these state cases, is his defense team has got to have a strategy to basically say we're going to plead federal because we've got a better. I think they're going to go in thinking they have a better way of somehow lessening the blow for him,
Mm.
because it's a federal case. It'll be. I'm very curious to know. I need to find some of my former federal prosecutors and just ask them what they think is really going on there.
I will be curious to see how the case against the young man who allegedly murdered Charlie Kirk goes. Um,
Haven't heard anything about it. I mean, you think about that. You think about that. And you think about the people that took shots at Trump. You've heard nothing about those
Nothing.
guys.
Nothing. I mean, I'm seeing it a little bit because Candace Owens is showing up on my TikTok now
I'm
and
sorry.
again. I know. I know.
There's probably a cream for that.
It's yeah, it's an itch. And also Tucker Carlson. I'm like, I'm over it. I don't. We're good, dude. We're good. And it reminds me of like I was thinking. I was laughing with somebody the other day. I was like, if you lined up all of my exes, not that I don't have that many. I don't have that many. Let's just say there's like 7 of them.
But let's say you did. We're not
Okay,
going to
let's say
shame
I
you.
did. They are the most random line at a DMV. Nobody looks like the other one. Nobody. So, I
So what
because
you're telling me is it's the line of the usual suspects,
I'm
basically.
like, hey, United Colors of Benetton. Yes, I will. Yes, I partake in all of this. But I don't know. It's been interesting lately. Like my ex husband had called the other day,
Mhm.
and we were just shooting the junk. You know, this is the person I married at 18, and then left him. Or maybe he left me. I don't know. I don't know how my brain was working in postpartum. But 24 months in, we were done. And we had already
Yeah.
had a child, and it was not a happy divorce, nor was he ever my son's father, like his
Right.
dad,
Yeah.
it didn't work out. But when I talked to him as though I'm a 12-year-old talking to a 14-year-old. You kind of get tattooed in because that was when we met, right? We met when we were
Right.
younger. We
Sure.
went to
Yeah.
school together. But I'm like, he's in the past. Like all of these people, like even another person had looked me up on LinkedIn, and I was like, oh, that's sweet. Oh my gosh, it's been 30 years and he's doing the exact same thing. Not, not judging, just saying like you go through life and you're like,
Some people
oh,
form their patterns very early.
yeah, you're like, oh, I'm going to leave you in the past. And it's just interesting. We continue to move forward, and then you're like, oh, just I forgot where I was going with that. Never mind. Squirrel.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
I will say one thing when you said about all your exes. I
yeah.
was going to ask them if they live in Texas, but no.
No,
Um, the
none.
the one thing I distinctly remember when we first brought you on was, for someone. It's going to sound. It's going to sound like I'm fucking ancient. For
Yeah.
someone so young, you were very clear, like what your boundaries were, and it was very clear to me that it was not because you had like read some self-help book and like, oh, I must have boundaries. It was like, fuck, I have made some really bad decisions, and this is what I've learned from them.
All of them. When in willingly. When in willing. I think I was. I how do you journal?
Mm-mm.
Oh my
It's
heavens.
funny. You're the second person to ask me that in the last week, and I've tried in the past, and I've just never had the patience. Like, I'm one of those people that if I'm going to journal, you have to give me a prompt.
Mm,
It's just, and I actually may start doing it again, because I'm at that point now where there are certain things I just like. I want to write stuff down to remember them,
yeah.
years and years and years from now. Um, but it's interesting because there are other members of my family that do, and they seem to have the wherewithal and the discipline to do it. My father-in-law was a devoted journaler. Like, we have, I'm guessing 30, 40 years of his journals.
Hmm.
Um, and I've always admired the people who can. But for some reason, it's just never really clicked with me.
Mm. I've I mean, if I showed you my ADHD drawer of journals that have started and then never stop, like, oh, I'll use that one
Oh
for
yeah,
this and use this one for this.
I
Um,
have dozens of these in
yep,
various sizes,
there's an entire
just
drawer.
scattered within the camera range. Yeah,
There's on the floor.
yeah,
I've taken a different approach um, because I am doing things kind of so in solitude.
yeah.
I do need to get out of the house a little bit more. Um, I'm just writing down like what I want to say to somebody or a thought I
Hmm.
had or like
Mm,
a
mm.
and then on the other side with a different pen, I'll be like, shit you can't make up. Just
One of I don't I wouldn't call it a journal, but one of my kids does the bullet journaling.
okay.
And so not journaling like Dear Diary journal, but like just doing the bullet method. And it's always funny when they are getting ready to set up a journal for their next like 6 months or a year or something, because it becomes this massive arts and craft project where they're
Oh,
sitting at a table and they've got it all spread out, and it's like there's color coding and there's different pens and there are little tabs and stickers. And I think I should ask them the next time I talk to them. I think that act of creation and like structure and order is probably as fulfilling and as important to them as actually doing the bullet journal. Um, but but yeah, it was something you said just keyed off. The number of people I have actually advised over time should keep like a journal or a
mhm,
diary or even just a little like here's what happened today sort of thing,
yeah.
probably numbers in the dozens, especially when I've been mentoring somebody that has problems with like or thinks they have problems with what they consider challenging conversations.
Mhm,
I'll tell them like sit down with a piece of paper like 2 days before you're going to have that conversation and write out the conversation you want to have,
yep.
so you can figure out how to steer the conversation that way, or depending on the point of view, write out the worst version of that conversation and then
Yeah.
figure out how you're going to avoid it. um, and that's one of those pieces of advice that when it worked for somebody, they came back and they said, hey, that's been really helpful, where'd you come up with it? And I'm like, I just like had an idea when I was 22 years old that I was going to go in and have a really bad conversation, and I knew I was going to screw it up. And so I just started bulleting out everything that could go wrong. And then I just kept at it. But
I
yeah.
yeah, I it's been fun. Like it's been fun to it's also fun to just get it out because
Mm.
typical Libra style, I mean, kind of confrontation avoidant at this phase in life. I'm like, I don't really want to, like, we already know, right?
It's a
Like,
time management thing.
yeah, like at some point we're both punk ass bitches because we don't want to have this conversation, and we're just gonna move on. But one of the can't make this up. Did I talk to you last time? Oh, I guess I'll repeat it. We had gone on a full moon ride on the water, and there was a guy stuck
Yeah,
with a
I
rattlesnake.
think you. I oh no, I don't think the version I heard didn't have a snake in it. Oh,
So
outstanding.
So I'm gonna read this Facebook post for you, and then I'll give you the story because I love this story. So thank you to Jen and crew who helped us as we were assisting an individual who was lost, no shoes, separated from their group, and pinned in by a rattlesnake off the brush this Saturday evening down from Sheets Crossing. Never leave your wingman or wingwoman.
Wow.
And so,
That's yeah. You didn't tell me that story.
so oh, I love it because if I was religious, this would also be a really good story. So we go on the full moon paddle, and it's a
Right.
whole bunch of folks. And one of the guys happens to have some choices he too is struggling that he made in life,
Right.
and so he has an ankle monitor on,
Okay. Yeah.
and it is what it is. His name is Christian, and you know me, I'm like, I'll ride next to him. I'm sure he's got great stories. Can't wait to hear about him. Let me, like, and so you kind of
What
like
was the earlier comment about boundaries?
you have none. I'm ready to listen. So we kind of get ahead of everything, or we kind of get ahead of everybody because there's about 20, 30 people. Yeah, more 30 people. And at some point, there's a fork in the river.
Yeah.
And the first fork, you're supposed to go right. And I'm always confused on the second fork. I'm like, do you go left or right? Because there's a dangerous rapid. And by dangerous, is it? But it's really rocky. It's
But you guys
just,
are like on paddle boards or something, right?
yeah. Some people
Yeah.
stand up. Not this girl. I'm not standing
not your
up.
speed.
So I veer off to the right because we're in the front. And Christian is like, I'll just go with you, Jen. I'll just go with you. And I'm like, oh, thank God, thank God. So went the wrong way. The group definitely went left. We went right. And so grateful I had Christian because he was my wingman. And and then we get down to the bridge, and then he's like, "Well, wait here for everybody." And I'm like, "Oh, great,
Right.
man." And so it was as we were taking off from there that we hear this couple and this guy, "Help, help me, help me." And we're like, "Oh my gosh, what's
Wow.
happening?" So it's dark, by the way. It is, the
Right.
moon is the only light you have except for our
Yeah.
fluorescent lights on the thing. And we come up to this couple, and they're like, "We're on the phone with the sheriff. We were trying to figure out where this
Mhm.
guy is." And we're like, "Oh, you didn't go check on him?" And the husband is like, "No, we don't know what state he's in right now."
Okay.
So one of our guys, again, we're in a group of 30, so
Sure. Yeah.
a little bit braver. Our guys are a little bit braver. So Chad's amazing, and he puts on his headlamp and he goes in there, and it's like a briar brush. It's like it's
Huh.
crazy.
Okay. Yeah.
The man, literally, his friends abandoned him. He's white all around his mouth because he's dehydrated. He has no shoes, and he
How
is.
long was he out there?
I don't think they got that far into a conversation.
Wow.
I
Yeah,
don't.
that's not a good scene.
Yeah, and he was literally cornered by a rattlesnake, and there was a standoff between him
Huh.
and Chad is the short king, and I love that for him because he was able to maneuver in everything. I would have been like, I would have got myself caught up there. So he gets the guy out, which is great, and then
Yeah.
the sheriff comes, and I'm just like, of course. And my name gets mentioned in Facebook. Why? Because Jen talks to everybody. I'm like, "Hi, I'm Jen. Hello. Oh, were you on the phone with the sheriff? That's fantastic." And so the guy who does everything, Chad, gets like no mention, and then
Right.
it's me, like, and I'm not even on Facebook. All right, not. But I was like, oh, because somebody would have said, I too got lost, but I was with Christ as I came down. I was with a Christian as I came down the water.
Oh my.
But it was interesting to think, what a jerk friend would leave you like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Or were you such a jerk that your friends were like, I'm out? But I still.
Yeah, I mean, the backstory of how that guy got there has got to be spectacular.
I
Probably not in a great way.
No, probably not. Not in a great way. All right, let's do some quick updates here.
Alrighty.
Do you remember what is an irrational pet peeve? What is completely minor, harmless thing that irrationally ruins your day?
Wow. That irrationally ruins my day. People who cut in line at the ferry drives me absolutely batshit.
Okay.
As my wife will tell you, because it happened last week, and I probably should have, like, I don't know, had a cardiac event that would have been less stressful.
Oh,
Just can't stand it.
I lost my chill at a Taco Bell.
That is the only thing you would need to write in the journal for that day.
Just, I lost my chill. I showed up to get my number 2. I went to go get my number 2, which is like 3 taco supremes and a drink, and it's like 11:21, and you're like, okay, so it's 11:21, and okay, fine. And I had somebody here, so I was like, oh, I won't get my regular tea. I'll get them a Diet Pepsi because that's the only thing they have there. And so it comes up, and it's like, so by the way, it's bad customer service. And it's the shittiest customer service, especially when they flip it around and they're like, hey, I would like a 30% tip. And you're like, I didn't hire you. I didn't set the prices. I didn't hire you. It's not my bag.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you're great,
tips at a Taco Bell?
No, just like in general.
Okay.
So I get up to the window and I'm like, hey, I'd like to have that number 3. and it says it goes 10 cents less. I gotta put my fingers out. It goes 10 cents less, and it's like 11.15 plus $1. But the dollar says like quesadilla, and I'm like, um, I think there's something off with the
Yeah.
screen because that's the last thing they ask you is it right
Sure.
on the
Yeah. Does
screen?
everything look right?
They're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Oh, because
and
you
I
go into
said,
the drive-through. Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
said, no, there's an extra dollar there, and the girl's like, oh no, that's the upcharge for the hard tacos, and I'm like, no, now we're not,
An
we're not having a
upcharge for the
conversation.
hard tacos.
I said, the math isn't mathing, and the
Good
sign
Lord.
says one thing.
Right.
Is this menu different from the menu inside?
Right.
And
Yeah.
she's just like, it's the price. It's the price. And I'm like, oh my God. This is why
And this
people
is
go,
11. This is like 11:30 at night, right?
yeah, no. I was just coming back from like a dog park. I was like, it's like the one thing because it's so hot here
Yeah.
that I can get that I'm like, even if it gets cold, I can eat it later. Like it's not
Sure.
so bad.
Yeah.
And so we do this standoff. Even the guy gets on and goes, oh no, it's an upcharge for the hard tacos. I'm like, no, it's 40 cents less for soft tacos. And
Right.
this is the charge for hot tacos. And at some point I go, you know what? I don't even trust you guys to make my food. Huh? What? Huh? What? Huh? And I was just like, get me out of here. I'm indifferent. Like I get it. I do not want to work at Taco Bell either. Unless I own it, right? Like
right. Right. If it's a franchise opportunity, it's a completely
yeah.
different thing.
But I just think like there is I'm sorry for people who are in the service industry, who are not being paid well, and society is like, hey, by the way, here's your copay for your medical,
Right.
it's $1,000. But I'm like, why are you so antagonistical? And then I've also realized I think it might be Arizona because I cannot remember having this much of it, like consistently negative experience, even at like a nice restaurant. I'm like, really? We were I was at a Paul Martin's, and the guy, there's like one waiter at lunch,
Yeah.
kind of working the room, and an older lady came up after and was like, hey, I just want to tell you, we didn't get very good customer service today. And with all of his vigor, he turns around and he goes, I'm talking to somebody else. I'm done with you. And I'm
See,
like, who's
that makes me that there's definitely a backstory there. Like that wasn't their first meeting.
I was just like, what is happening? I'm going to order Factor meals and heat them up for 2 minutes and be fine. We will be done with it.
They are tasty.
They are tasty. What is something odd you do when you're entirely alone that you've never admitted to anyone else that you're telling the entire internet now?
I was gonna say there's a interesting tactic there, Jen.
I like it.
I good Lord, I have no idea. I still well, I do this regardless of whether I'm with people or not. I will just walk around the house singing.
Oh,
Like when I'm all by myself,
oh.
I could be reading a book, I could be doing dishes, I could be, folding laundry, but I will just be singing. And
Yeah.
if you're here, great. And if you're not, well, I'm still doing it. And it's
I'm-
funny because I see it pop up in my kids as well.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
one of them will just whistle for no he's got a tune in his head, and he just has completely oblivious to anybody else around him. Just wanders the house whistling away, and I'm like, you do you, buddy, go for it.
I have realized I talk to myself a lot.
Oh yeah.
I have full-on conversations, and the young man who has a room that we let stay here will catch me and he'd be like, are you talking to somebody? And I'm like, it's me. And at first I was like, am I crazy? And then I see all these ladies on TikTok like recording themselves, and I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah.
I am good.
No, that's a good. I will definitely do that. Maybe it's just it gets back to that thing of like I don't dig on silence a lot.
No, I need stimulus. Do you sleep with like a sound noise?
No, shockingly enough, no. Like that's the one. one thing I don't need any help with, as my wife will attest. Like I will fall asleep in 5 seconds. I have no problem.
That is, you know what? Great final topic. Thank you for listening. You recommended the Trevor Noah, Tracy Ellis Ross podcast.
Oh yeah.
10 out of 10.
Yeah,
10 out of
fantastic.
10. And I thought
we should do that. That should be a part of the whole thing. Is every week or whenever we do these, should be what's like the podcast that stood out between now and the last time we talked.
The heirloom tomato conversation.
there were so many gems in that podcast. It was hilarious. It was fantastic too, because I was out on a hike and I had like set a distance for myself, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep going until I'm done with this podcast. And the podcast goes on for like an hour and a half.
It was fantastic.
Which is great. But yeah, you're the second person I recommended it to after I listened to it. Like, you guys have got to listen to this. This is hilarious.
I was thinking of when Tracy talks about her nighttime routine. I'm like, oh, I too am a woman in my 50s and I live alone. And since I moved here, I have an elite nighttime routine. Shower, scrub, face mask, like red light therapy, and this is all by 8:25.
Well, you're getting up at like 4:30.
So. I am getting up at 4:30. But I'm just like, oh, how fun. By the way, my skin looks amazing. It's the best it's ever looked. I'm really grateful for this, but I'm getting 7 to 8 hours a night. Like,
yeah.
It's beautiful. Now that, well, I guess you I mean, you've got your oldest who's still there. Like, but do you get to have your own kind of nighttime routine?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, first off, he's got a variable shift schedule, so sometimes he's home for dinner, sometimes he's not home until like 10 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
And there's nights too where he's just like, hey, I'm going into the city or I'm hanging out with friends. I'm like, yeah, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah, like I mean, he's adult. Yeah.
Yeah, he's fully formed. But yeah, it's. I mean, I think most people have a routine.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's the real trick for most folks is to your point, is actually getting enough sleep. And it is amazing to me with the universality of the advice that's being given these days about, look, it's sleep, it's nutrition, it's exercise, in that order. Like, if those are not your priorities in that order, something's not going to help you. Like, things are not going to be at their best. And which cracks me up, because we certainly came up with came up in the age of you'll sleep when you're dead. Like, sleep is for the weak.
And margarine on everything.
But yeah, I mean, these days it's like the first thing I care about when I get up in the morning is I look at my watch to see what my sleep pattern has been. And I'm getting really pissed when it's like, when it's suboptimal. I'm like, but I went to bed and I slept for 7.5 hours, or, I just had a 9-hour sleep. What are you saying? I'm not like the best ever. Yeah.
I had to, so my sleep has been a little funky. And it's not me, it's the dogs.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's always the dogs. So last night I decided I'm sleeping on the other side of the bed. Perfect. It was perfect. Apparently the dogs like to be on the side closest to the door, which should have figured that one out. Yeah. Which means I also have to move like my side table. But I'm like, oh, how funny how I was able to sleep so good. All right, well, we'll go out on a bang here.
Uh-oh.
All right. If you were arrested today with no context given to your friends and family, what would they immediately assume you did?
Oh, so when they found out I was arrested, what would they assume?
Yeah.
If I were arrested, it would, I mean, either comedically or not, they'd immediately think that I like got really mouthy with a cop and went too far. And the cop, just out of like, respect my authority, I'm arresting your ass. Like, I mean, you know me. You could see that happen.
Yeah.
Have I ever done it? No. Thank God.
So
um,
funny. I would have been like, along that lines, I would have been like, oh, at a protest.
well, yeah, definitely that. Oh my God. Like, to be honest, I'm a little surprised it hasn't happened already. Um, but yeah, no, well, what about you?
Um, I think yeah, I probably hit a woman at the park.
Like physically or with a car?
No, I would have, no, yeah, no, I've had a few incidences lately.
Uh-oh.
Like,
Ladies and gentlemen, if the podcast isn't on for several months, that's probably
yeah.
why.
So we'll end with this story. I was walking the dogs, and there's two lanes. There's two lanes, and I'm going down, but I cross over because there's no folks
Sure.
coming in because the dogs like to go pee on that side. And at some point, I'm just like, I'm just gonna stay on this side because it's fine. But I look for folks coming, and there's this woman on a bike who, by the way, white woman, another white woman, just like me, So Karen on Karen violence here is, might happen. And so she looks back to shake her head at me, and
For
she's
what?
just
About what?
because I'm in
Just
that lane.
oh, because you're in the lane, right? Gotcha.
I'm in that lane,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she didn't get to go in that lane and go around me because
Yes,
I let her stay in this lane.
right.
And I'm just like, and so she turns to give me the very Karen head shake, and I'm like, you can't be serious. It's just like you can't be serious. It's a Saturday morning.
Jen,
By the way,
maybe
which
we
my
need
mother
to maybe we need to recheck those boundaries.
What's that medication doing? It definitely isn't calming you down. And I'm just like, what are you? And she just decides to shake her head some more. And I decided to let out the most Trumpian thing I could have said, which was loser, loser. And so I haven't gone back to that dog park.
Oh,
I
I
just,
come back. See, now that's a journaling moment right
it
there.
is. I got it because that was the second one that happened. The other guy called me a wit, a bitch is what he called me, because the dogs were like, I had the dogs off leash like on a one piece, and he's like, that's
Sure.
against the rules or the law. And I'm like, okay, I put him back on,
Right.
and then he was saying something. I'm like, did I do something to you personally? And he just said, you're just a bitch. And it was just like,
Okay.
yeah,
So
I
maybe
have,
people in Arizona need to get more sleep.
you know what? That's fair. That's fair. All right, John, any final parting thoughts today?
Oh my goodness. There's been so much we could have talked about that we didn't. Have you seen The Odyssey?
No. Should I go see it?
Very good. I enjoyed it.
Okay. In the
The
theater.
in the theater, yeah. Preferably one that has a good volume control, because Nolan's films typically tend to be very loud, like louder than they need to be.
Oh,
So I actually brought my rock concert little earplugs with me,
fantastic.
so I could actually hear everything that was being said. But yeah, no, super good. Really enjoyed it. Couple of little nits here and there, but they don't take away from the movie at all.
Okay.
And yeah, definitely one of his best. I really thought they did a good job. And then of course then the family turned around and we immediately went to go see Spider Man, which
Oh,
also
was it good?
so good,
Oh, okay.
so good.
I,
Yeah,
I kind of I need to find somebody to go to the movies with. I'm like, I don't like going by myself too much.
sure.
But I have such a great home studio or home surround sound thing.
Oh yeah,
But I have not watched what just came out was Devil Wears Prada 2.
dope.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even want to come in out of the
We
107 degrees to watch it.
we we were at a loss to watch something this weekend, I think, and we watched it, and I don't even remember how it ended. Like, that's how quickly I checked out by the end of the first act, which is a tragedy because it's a great cast, right? Wonderful talent. Stanley Tucci is one of my heroes, and I was just like, no, like I my wife was literally like, she went back to like her knitting, like as she's doing some crocheting. I'm like, all right, well, you're checked out, and I got a book, so I think we're done. Yeah.
I
So
yeah,
it's been a long time since a movie I was just like, I don't even know why we're watching this anymore.
I had a feeling I wouldn't care for it when the um, the Miranda Priestley character
Hmm.
didn't remember Andy,
Yeah.
and I was like, no way, no way, and no
Yeah.
way. If you really think Anna Wintour doesn't remember somebody from 1978 who walked in and
Yeah.
like in clogs, she'd
Yeah.
remember. And I'm just like, she's not stupid. Like if you're
Well,
trying to make
that's
her
just it.
vulnerable,
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the whole sort of implied affectation, right, from the first movie is that she remembers everybody, but but she remembers, but then she talks about them like they're just another person. Like they're
yeah,
like, I can't even remember the word she used. It was like, oh, you're like a bunch of other Emilys I've had before. Like she
yeah,
probably remembers every single person, but she just kind of paints them all with the same brush when she's talking about them because she knows it'll drive people crazy. Yeah. So that when that happened, I was like, because they played it like she really didn't remember, and I'm like, no, I don't. Completely
it's
took
just
me out
an
of it.
ick.
Yeah.
That's just an ick. I'm going to keep an ear to the street here. It's very interesting because there's a big boom happening in Arizona here, and guess what? Private equity is looking to snag up.
To grab
They're
up.
they are buying mom and pop trades, electrician.
Really?
Yeah, they're buying.
Why? That would
I
seem to
don't.
be below their notice.
I think they're looking to consolidate. Make them one big one. Like they're buying pest
Ever
control companies, and I'm like,
well, you see, something like that I could okay, now that you said trades, that's probably the pivot, right? Is because the trades are something that, like plumbing or electricians or pest control, that's something that you can franchise, right? You can
yep.
brand and franchise. Yeah, so that makes more sense now. I was going to say warehouses because of like data centers and everything,
Oh my
but
gosh.
yeah, that's a whole other conversation we can have.
Yeah. Well, until
uh,
next time, maybe we'll see
yeah.
if we do get a moratorium on data centers at some point.
It's all the political rage right now. We'll see how long it actually lasts. As somebody said when I was talking about Texas just doing it, um, somebody was like, "Yeah, I'll wait until the check clears." Like, like they're basically saying, "I'm sure they'll be bought out of that decision in some way, shape, or form," which would not surprise me.
Yeah. Anywho. Well, until then, thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Thanks for listening.
good to
All right.
catch up. Talk to you
Yeah.
soon. Bye.
Ciao.